next we come on to wages to turnover, which is where the story really gets interesting. As of 2021 to 2022, Leicester's wage to turnover was at a staggering 85%, the fourth highest in Europe's top 5 leagues, trailing only to Paris Saint-Germain, Everton and Newcastle United. At circa £79 million a year, we have the 16th highest wage bill in Europe's 5 biggest leagues and the 7th highest wage bill in the Premier League. To put it into perspective, our annual salary is over 5 times the lowest annual salary team in Brentford at £15 million a year. Currently, clubs like Brentford at £15.2 million and Fulham at £37.6 million make an absolute mockery of Leicester City's wage bill, seeing as both of them are offering more value, more points per salary than Leicester City right now. We are not alone though. You only have to look at the second highest spenders in the league, Chelsea, at £169.7 million a year, and they are languishing in mid-table right now. Leicester City are currently spending around £1.5 million a week on player wages alone. Leicester's biggest earners, according to Salary Sport, is 35-year-old Jamie Vardy. That's £160,000 a week, £8.3 million a year. The starman Yuri Tielemans comes in second at £120,000 per week and £6.2 million a year. Sadly, forever injured Ricardo Pereira is on £120,000 per week and £6.2 million a year. While talisman James Maddison takes home £110,000 a week and £5.7 million a year, and an ageing Johnny Evans takes home £100,000 a week and £5.2 million a year. Now, I'm not sure you can argue with those wages too much, but on closer inspection with the rest of the squad, the 9th highest earner is bench warmer Boubakary Soumaré. £83,000 a week, £4.3 million a year. Next up in the 10th highest earner is Ayoze Perez, £83,000 a week, £4.3 million a year. Another Brendan Rodgers signing who failed to make the desired impact and spent much of the last 2 years on the bench. 12th highest earner is Physio's best friend, none other than Orion Bertrand, on £78,000 a week, £4 million a year. The 13th highest earner, Dennis Pratt, £77,000 a week, £4 million a year. Dennis Pratt actually is one that particularly irks me because he's a Brendan Rodgers signing. I think he was about £22 million when we signed him. And he has a lot of quality, albeit, I don't think he's ever had many outstanding performances. He rarely plays badly. But Brendan Rodgers has been trying to get rid of him for the last 2 years, which doesn't really make a great deal of sense. The 16th highest earner at the club is Danish beanpole Yannick Vestergaard, £75,000 a week and £3.9 million a year, which is crazy when you think that Brendan Rodgers doesn't want to play him, sits him on the bench, puts him into the reserve squads, and has pretty much ruined his World Cup. Now, I'm not saying that Yannick Vestergaard deserves to be in the side, because on performances he doesn't, but if Yannick is to be believed, Brendan Rodgers called him up 6 months before he signed for us, asking him to join. So he is a Brendan Rodgers signing, and it doesn't really bode well for his judgment of a player's talent, does it? My last point on the wages is that it's rumoured that the tenacious Leicester lad Hamza Chowdhury takes home £60,000 a week. He's one of our own, but who thought to put him on £60,000 a week? I mean, that seems madness for someone who I don't think, even when he signed that contract, was ever going to get into the first team on a regular basis. In stark contrast, Brentford's Ben Mee takes home £55,000 a week, and he's Brentford's highest paid player. Do you think this seems like good value to you? Let me know in the comments. Now, we couldn't cover this topic without mentioning managers' wages. Reports on managers' salaries vary a lot, but it's widely agreed that pint-sized Brendan Rodgers takes home around £10 million a year, which is more than the Owl Mikel Arteta on £8.5 million, and avid 7-Up drinker Erik ten Hag. Putting it into perspective, Brendan Rodgers takes home £192,000 a week. That is £52,000 more than Jamie Vardy, and with just 7 league wins this season, I estimate he's costing us £882,000 per win. What he lacks in size, he makes up for in Gucci belts. Just touching on financial fair play, in the Premier League, clubs are not allowed to make more than £105 million worth of losses over any 3-year period. In a recent interview, Brendan gave his thoughts on FFP. He said,
"I don't think FFP has worked. That's my honest opinion. If you look at clubs like ourselves, where our owner could spend more money but he can't because of the restrictions, the size of our ground, commercially, that holds teams and clubs like ourselves back, while other teams can financially exploit that. So I'm not sure that really works, to be honest."
In regard to Leicester's 2021-2022 financial statement, Leicester insists that commercial and sporting revenue figures are both on the up and there are no fears over breaching FFP rules. So, should Leicester City fans be worried? Well, our summer transfer spending was minimal, despite selling the snake